If you're like me and you love riding bikes, then you've probably seen one of these things around. This is a Pumptrack, and right now they are absolutely dominating urban spaces, bike parks, and even right now I'm in a caravan park and they've got one. But what actually are they and how do you ride them? In this video, I'm going to tell you what a Pumptrack is, how you ride it, and how every single age and skill level can benefit from riding a Pumptrack. Stay tuned. In its most simple form, a Pumptrack can be described as being a series of rollers and berms that usually links back up on itself and completes a never-ending loop. First of all, rollers are these bumps that you see on the track. They're basically points where it goes from low to high and back to low again in a nice smooth motion. In this demonstration, we're using a Parkitect modular Pumptrack where every single roller is exactly the same shape and size so that it's really smooth to ride. Berms are where you go around a corner, but luckily enough for us, these berms are banked up nice and tall so that when you're going around the corner, you don't fly off the exit of it. So now that you know what a Pumptrack is, how do you use these rollers and berms to ride on this Pumptrack? The first and most important technique we're going to cover in this video is pumping. Pumping is a skill that's derived from BMX, but you find it in pretty much every single avenue of bike riding, from enduro, downhill, and especially Pumptrack. Pumping is a way of generating speed without pedaling. For some people that may sound crazy, but Pumptracks are truly a place where you can ride without pedaling. And it's incredible how much speed you can get just by using your body and pumping. Pumping is a difficult skill and it takes many people years to master, so don't be disheartened if you don't get it straight away. But here are a few tips you can use to get started. Pumping is a process that uses momentum to gain speed. Basically, when you come up to a roller, you need to imagine being light on the upside, heavy on the downside. Basically what we mean by that is, imagine you're standing on a set of scales in the bathroom and you're trying to make that number as big as possible, so you push down onto it and make that number bigger. What you want to be doing is, when you're on the downside of the roller, is to be doing that with your bike, pushing the bike away from you and driving it downwards into the Pumptrack and creating downward momentum and increasing your apparent weight. And just the opposite, on the upside, you need to be bringing the bike up towards you, decreasing your apparent weight. Once you've learned how to do this on one roller, you can start doing it on the next roller and the next roller. Light on the upside, heavy on the downside. Over and over and over again, you'll be gaining more and more and more speed. Now that you've mastered rollers, let's move on to berms. The reason why they're called berms is because they're not like regular corners that are flat. These ones have a serious bank on it, and we're on a modular Pumptrack right now, which means that every single berm is built out of these little pieces that makes it into a perfect shape. And right at the top here, it's almost vertical. You can treat this corner a bit differently to a flat corner. So let's talk about some of the technique that goes into going around a corner like this. As you're at the start of the corner, you need to be in that comfortable position where your pedals are level, your center of mass is right over the seat, you have your arms just in a comfortable and slightly bent position, and as you come into the corner, you want to be looking all the way through the corner to the exit. You want to turn your hips in the direction of the corner. That way, as you're going around the corner, you can extend your body into the corner, rail your way around it, and exit at the next roller on the other side. Let's tick things up a notch and get a little bit more difficult. Introduce manualing. Manualing is a similar skill to pumping in that you still use those fundamental building blocks of being light on the upside, heavy on the downside. By using those skills, you're able to move a bit faster around the track, and that's when you'll want to start manualing. Manualing, in its simplest form, is keeping your front wheel off the ground from one roller to the next roller. But there's a lot more going on in there than you think. Let's run through how you manual. As you're coming up to the roller, you need to be in that attack position with your pedals flat, with your body weight centered, and your arms not locked out, but still strong and comfortable. A common misconception with manuals is that it's just yanking up on the bars and lifting your front wheel into the air. The reality is that as you come over the top of the first roller, you're moving your body weight backwards, keeping your arms strong, and essentially allowing your front wheel to come up due to that shift in your body weight. So your hips should start to be moving behind the seat and over the top of your back wheel. This will cause your front wheel to lift up naturally. As you've started to move backwards and you feel your front wheel coming up, you push down on the backside, and as you approach the next roller, keep your eyes up, spot your landing, be light on the upside, drop your front wheel down, And then once your front wheel's down, you're able to push back down on the backside of the next roller and initiate your pump. Once you have mastered manualing, you can try something a little bit more difficult. Once you're going a bit faster, string together 3 rollers and do a double manual. Then once you've mastered a double manual, you can do a triple manual. And then once you've done a triple manual, you can just keep on going forever. And that's why I love these pump tracks, because once you've learnt the fundamental skills, you can start graduating them into more difficult and more complex movements. Now that you've mastered manualing, it's time for everybody's favorite, jumping. People may not know it, but jumping really is an extension of the pumping technique. You still need to be light on the upside, heavy on the downside. Let's work out how to jump on a pump track. As you're approaching the roller, be in that same comfortable attack position with your pedals level. Keep your eyes up, looking forward to where you're going to be landing. As you approach the up ramp of the roller, be incredibly light on the upside, lifting the bike up towards your body. Naturally, you will feel yourself get air under your tires. As you're in the air, make sure you're staying really strong, keeping your tummy muscles strong and keeping yourself centered and making sure you don't get sketchy while you're in the air. Spot your landing, put your tires down on the ground, and then on the way down, initiate that pumping motion, heavy on the downside. Jumping properly is very difficult, so start on something small and work your way up. Don't start on something too difficult to start with, because it's a very good way to hurt yourself and potentially damage your bike. So now you've learned how to pump, how to corner, how to manual, and finally, how to jump. So all of this pumping and rollers and corners, why is it important? Because if it stays on the pump track, it's not a whole lot of use to you if you're trying to become a better rider. The reality of it is that these are fundamental building blocks that you can take into all sorts of environments. Learning the skills of pumping, manualing, and jumping can be translated into the bush, and you wouldn't believe how many opportunities there are to pump on a mountain bike track. Next time you go riding on a mountain bike track after learning how to pump, you will find all of these secret little pockets of momentum, all these places where you can be light on the upside and heavy on the downside. And what you'll notice when you watch professional riders, downhill riders, cross-country riders, free riders, is that they are pumping constantly. They're using their bodies to create momentum when they aren't able to pedal. By building these fundamental skills, you'll be making yourself a better rider while you're having fun riding around on a pump track. So go out there, get stoked, and keep on becoming a better rider. I'm signing off, Ryan Gilchrist from Parkitect. Take it easy and keep shredding.